The topic what we are going to cover is the lesson 10, landlords and tenants. Under the British, under the Nizams, how are the lands maintained? How they used to collect the taxes from them? Who is entitled to collect the taxes? Let us trace it from the term of the Mughal rule. The Mughals are known for their administrative skills. So let us see here on the Zamindari system and the peasants' time or role during the Mughal times. Mughal emperors, the Mughal rulers, never used to collect the taxes directly from the people. They in turn used to collect from the zamindars. Then zamindars used to collect them from the people. So here we have a link between the zamindars and the people. The direct access point of collection of tax was done by the zamindars. Between the peasants and the Mughal rulers, we have an interlink, that is the zamindars. In this way, the zamindars used to collect the taxes from the people, and in turn they used to pay the taxes to the Mughal emperor. The taxation was divided between the various zamindars, and these zamindars used to collect the entire taxes, and they are in accordance responsible to the Mughal emperors, and they used to pay the taxes directly to the Mughal emperors. That is the reason why we have the existence of the zamindari system during the period of the Mughal tenure. Then how did the Britishers collect the tax? What are the laws that are made to establish? Why did Britishers concentrate on improving the land revenue? What is a major source of their concentration towards it? Because it is a contrary to the view of the British administration. Let us focus our attention on that. These zamindars or the landlord owners, or the people who collect the tax between the people, in Telangana regions they used to stay in a small forts called Gadi. And moving on to the actual context, how are the different ways of collecting the taxes? Let us focus on the key issues here. Zamindars used to own their own certain amount of lands, which are known as self-cultivated lands, or also known as Khud Kashant lands. These land people will pay the tax directly to them. And we have the other system also through which the land rent is fixed, where the land rent is fixed and it is collected from the landlords. These landlords in turn do the people make them to work, and they collect taxes from them. These landlords pay taxes to the zamindars. It's like a three-tier level. Zamindars collect tax from the landlords, landlords collect from the people, those who are working under them, or those who have divided their lands to the people. And as in India we have many artisans who are working on their own handmade items and works. They do in the services by concentrating on the services by doing to the landlords and to the zamindars. By doing in the services to the landlords, they in turn work under them and have very small plots of lands where they have to work at very less cost for them or very less wage for them, and they have to pay taxes for the landlords. Landlords in turn pay taxes to the zamindars. So we have two ways of collection of the taxes. One is zamindar collecting directly tax from the landowners who owns their own lands, known as self-cultivated lands, and also collects the rent or the taxes in the form from the landlords, who in turn collect from their tenants. So these are the two ways of collection of the taxes. Most of the untouchable caste people or lower caste people or people who don't have major sources of income, who are working under the landlords, come under this category, where landlords used to maintain large amount of land and make these people to work for very less amount of the wages. So how did the Britishers concentrate on the land revenue? What is the main key of concentration of the Britishers? So moving on to the next system, the most crucial change which was done by the Britishers was the permanent settlements. The word itself reveals that there is something which was done permanently. The Britishers, who initially did not concentrate much on the income of the agriculture, later realized that as 80% of the Indians truly depend on agriculture, and if we fix a certain amount of tax on the agricultural revenue, automatically it would be a continuous flow to the economy of the Britishers, and the Britishers need a high investment of input flow in the economy in terms of doing trade and war, which they are in high need. They need to build up their regional and international status in order to maintain their many of the other colonies. And see here, so to have a fixed amount of income generating from them, from that they fixed that the land revenue should be fixed, and as the Britishers could not take care properly, it resulted in the famines continuously before and after the arrival of the Britishers, where thousands of people have lost their lives. So to safeguard themselves and to ensure that most of the people do investments in the agriculture, they fixed the revenue and they entrusted the responsibility that if you develop the agriculture, you can sustain certain amount of income for yourselves. That was the main motto. So they increased the revenue, and they also encouraged the crops which are highly needed for them in the Britishers' context. Those are cotton, indigo, sugarcane and wheat. So in this vacant background, the Permanent Settlement Act of 1793 was passed. This is an act which entitles the government of British, or the Government of India Act under the rule by the Britishers, make sure that they have to pay a certain amount of fixed tax, and this will be collected at any cost. There will be no excuse at any point of time. So we have Cornwallis, the then Governor General, taking the initiative and developing the system of the Zamindari system. In this Zamindari system, the Zamindars were given the auction rights for them, and they have to agree to pay a certain amount of fixed rate or the revenue to the government, and they can collect more than that and they can withhold that one. So it's like a ratio of 90% they have to pay to the government and 10% they can withhold it. In this way, the Britishers brought the first time the Revenue Act known as the Zamindari system or the Permanent Settlement Act of 1793. So now moving on to the reality. As the act was passed, the Zamindars could not able to maintain or collect such an amount of high tax and could not pay it in time to the government. So the government used to warn them, and sometimes they used to change the Zamindars very frequently who could not pay the taxes in time. So this brought the instability in the Zamindars and also in the villages. So this caused a serious threat to the company, and they also discovered that most of the Zamindars are not investing in the agricultural sector or to the development of the fields or the irrigation facilities. So what are the other results? What did the British do to overcome this kind of negative impact? What is the other system that was brought into existence? We shall see now.